Jacobs. She was innocent on death row for 17 years. Her husband was also on death row, and they executed him. He was also innocent. They executed him just before she got released. And she's always thinking that she's going to get out on an appeal. She knows she's innocent, and she believes at some point in time the right people are going to come into her life who are going to help her. It's going to get into the court system and it's going to get overturned. That in the long run, justice will prevail. And that is what psychologically would be keeping Paul going in a situation like that. You know, the hardest part for me when I was told I was facing up to 200 years was not thinking I was ever going to get my life back. And the way I dealt with that was exercise, yoga, meditation, all this kind of stuff, reading and writing. And it's really just channeling your energy into positive things, the limited positive things that are available that help you keep sane. And in Paul's case, it's his art. You know, it was the pictures that got him in the news that that does the news stories over there. Yeah. Okay, next question then.
Shaun, did you ever think about suicide?
Yeah, I did think about suicide, and I generally don't say that in the schools. For sure, because I don't want people to just feel sorry for me, because my thing is I take responsibility for what I did. I don't want to sound self-pitying. A year in, when they moved me in with the cockroaches, and I'm told I've been facing up for 200 years and the bail's double, they knew my girlfriend was my lifeline, and she was visiting me 3 times a week, so to cut that lifeline off, the prosecutor charged her with 1 prescription pill that was found on the day of the raid in our prescription cabinet. They didn't have a written prescription right next to it, which is classic felony. So she couldn't visit me because co-defendants can't visit co-defendants. So I'm thinking, do I want to spend the rest of my life in this kind of an environment? No, I don't. Why don't I just slash my wrists and bleed out and end it? But before I end it, I want to say goodbye to my family, and and what I mean by that is I was allowed 7 photographs. So I get these I'm thinking I'm going to slash my wrists and bleed out after a guard in a security walk. But pull these photos out. I'm looking at my mum and dad and sister and girlfriend, and I'm thinking, my mum's going to get a call saying I've slashed my wrist in a jail cell out in America, and it's going to break her heart. It gave me the strength not to do it. And I think that was like a turning point in my life. It really was. Because as horrific as the conditions were, it doesn't work for most of the prisoners who came in. It actually did me a lot of good, and I do credit it with saving my life and sending my life in this whole new positive direction. So I was putting myself in a lot of dangerous situations before I got arrested. Yeah. Alright, is anyone else? Any questions?
Do the care packages get through?
I've got a guy who...
You might explain what they are.
Okay, years ago you were able to send food packages into the prison directly from yourself. But because of the amount of drugs and contraband that was getting put in those packages, they ended all that. And what you've got now is a system called Secure Pack, and there's a website online, and you can go and order various items of food for the prisoner, and then they put that in a package and they send it to that prisoner if he qualifies for that. That's what's happening in the state of Arizona. And they cover a lot of other states as well, so I'm sure there's something comparable in California. Now, I was sending packages to this guy, Jack Hudson. He's the guy who beat the death penalty. And then they stopped me sending them recently, because now what that state of Arizona is saying is you have to be on the approved visitor list to send a package to a prisoner. And to be on the approved visitor list, you've got to pay so much money to get all your background check and all this kind of stuff. So I'm no longer allowed to send packages to Jack. Jack's story is this. He was an undercover cop. He was assigned to infiltrate a biker gang who were manufacturing crystal meth, because he didn't want crystal meth in the neighbourhood where his kids were growing up. He was a former Marine. He'd got medals for bravery and all this kind of stuff, and he was the Rookie of the Year in the police department. He was authorised to get high on crystal meth with the bikers because they're not going to accept you if you don't get high with them. He got addicted to meth. He started robbing the police compound for crystal meth. He got in a shootout with his colleagues, shot 2 of them dead on the spot, and almost killed a 3rd of them. he was up for the death penalty, and he only beat it because the US Army General came and spoke on his behalf. The judge gave a 1-hour speech as to why he wasn't going to give him the death penalty. If he got out tomorrow, he would be the most well-behaved person in the world, and he regrets what he did when he was on those drugs. And, he was doing it in the line of his work. I felt his superiors should have borne some of the responsibility in his case, but they haven't. He's got cancer now and he's dying in prison, so he's not got much time left. Alright, has anyone got anything else? Yeah.
You being obviously an ex-con, are you allowed to visit these people now?
No, I'm banned from America for life. I have done talks at Wigan Young Offenders and talked at the women's prison here in London as well. So they do allow me in the UK prisons, and
So all your correspondence is basically...
They're banned from writing to me. They've classified my books and my blog as a threat to the security of the institution. So what you tell prisoners they can't do something, and they'll try and figure a way around it. They send their letters to a mate of mine, and he forwards their letters to me now. And that's how I keep the blog and their stories going. Yeah. But it is just so corrupt out there, the way they hide DNA evidence and just set people up. The mentality is, the public, if there's a murder, the public want a solution to that murder as quick as possible. If I can solve that murder, I'll get a promotion. Now, to do this in the right way, the foolproof way, is to find someone who has some criminal history. Usually it's a black guy. There's a lot of racism in the system. They'll put that guy on the stand, trying to defend himself with $10,000. And what the public defenders, they call them public pretenders because they're just going through the motions. And the guy's got no chance in hell then against the resources of the state. And that's exactly the situation that Paul's in. It just happens all the time. And nobody listens to anyone in prison who says they're innocent. It's a joke. Everyone in prison says they're innocent. It's just nobody listens. But you've got all this many people behind him now, and politicians getting involved. And, when I was contacted a while back, I said about the Innocence Project, but usually they only look at people on death row. The fact that the London Innocence Project have taken it, that's a major deal, because they won't get involved unless they think this guy's got a really good chance of getting out. They don't want to waste their resources. So I think Paul's got a really good shot at getting out. Really good.
They're really pushing the California Innocence Project.
If they can link up with them, that will be a really big deal then, yeah. I think the London Innocence Project will give them the credibility then to take it from there. Yeah.
Is there no sort of politicians trying to reform the system out there? Is there no movement to try and change things? Because it just sounds like something that wouldn't happen.
Okay, you've got to bear in mind as well, the American prison system is a business model. Every prisoner is a revenue stream of $50,000